Thank you to those of you watching on Twitch. Really appreciate the offers for cheap viewers. I like to think our viewers are, very quality people, not cheap. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great award-winning show. I've given us that award myself, so that's how that rolls, ladies and gentlemen. It is September 19th. Lots of news going on right now. I think everyone besides Pedro and I in the whole crypto world is over in Singapore at Token 2049 having a good time. Most of them are asleep right now because it's 1 a.m. But for those of you that stayed up and are tuning in from Singapore, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. Pedro, what's happening this morning?
Not much, man. So it's really interesting, man. Just really enjoying life going on. I had a pastor friend who went out and went to Santorini.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I sat there and I was like, oh, man. It was such a beautiful, I could see, I was all drooling over their pictures and it was just like, man, well, one day I'll own a villa over there. And I'll fly
One day, ladies and gentlemen, one day.
Yes, one day. But it's a beautiful day so far. And I'm here hanging out with my friends over here on DYOR. And we're all just having fun here and just doing our thing. So looking forward to what we have going on today. It looks like I was horribly wrong in relationship to BTC. And I will admit
ding,
that.
Ding.
Look at
let's,
that.
Let's ring the bartender tip bell. Pedro is doing what we call full transparency here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
I can't win them all.
Yeah. But I mean, I do have to admit, like, I'm saddened because the volume is even though the volume is up, the volume is going down, and I'm like, come on, man. So it's remember, like as I tell everybody, I am a perma bull on crypto, long term, but short term. Now, I thought we were going to hit these areas here. I've talked about here now for a while, right? As that was the 63 area, 62,000 area. And this would put in the lower high, and then we would see the market go down. But that's not what happened. And so for my viewers out there who did take that short, I'm sorry.
Crypto Mike says, with that hair, we should call you Pedro Jesus.
Oh wow! If I could even attempt to be 1% of that man, that would be a good day.
Welcome, Crypto Mike, to the house.
What's up, Mikey? It's good to see you. What's up? Who is Weibo Token is here as well. It's good to have you as well. Thank you so much.
If you guys could or Dean Toshi, whichever it is that you runs that account. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Enjoyed having a Weibo Token on the show last week. If you haven't seen it, go back in our archives and look for a Weibo Token. It should be up on all of the platforms we stream on still.
Yep. And in additionally to that, if you want to watch us, because we're trying to get, sorry, as I kind of jump in front of everybody's face. I'm really looking forward to when we go on Apple TV. I know Tom has been putting for the developer, what is it, certificate that we get for that? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I screwed up my whole application to become a developer for it. Apple TV makes you go through extra hoops than you have to do get certified as an Apple app, developer, and you have to give up your newborn kid and prove who you are and all this type of stuff. And then to add Apple TV on top of it, it takes forever. And I'm in that loop where I goof something up, and then it resets me to the beginning, and then times out, and then.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's just, but it's on its way. You know, it's slow but steady. It's going to happen. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was actually really impressed that we were actually doing that. And he goes, you think you have any viewers? I go, I don't know, man. It depends on how fast this thing grows. I mean, it may not. I mean, either way, we'll find out.
Exactly.
But
We'll find out.
but you know what? We'll never know if we don't try. So, but in the same sense, jumping back to Bitcoin, you never know until you find out. Now, this is the thing I'm going to bring up. And we talked about this last, I think back in Monday or Tuesday, when I went over and we were talking about how we have the volume. Every time we have a leg down, we see volume increasing. And every time we see volume going up, we see volume decreasing, right? And it's the same situation here. But the difference is now, we were having smaller, like I said here, this is where we were at. We are breaking the trend here on volume. Okay, you can see that we've had more than average green volume per se in this push up compared to the last push up. You can see here that we had this situation, right? And this was the volume increase that we were watching. Let me actually take that off here real quick. And I can point this out a little bit more. So you can see here that at this point area, these were the highs of the volume, okay, of this past push up. Whereas that is almost the average of volume that we actually had. So we are seeing an increase in buyers as we're moving up here, which is an actual pleasant thing to see, especially that I hope I'm wrong again, because if I'm wrong, then that means we're starting our climb up and everybody's bags and everybody comes running back into crypto and it's let's
I
go.
gotta tell you,
Right?
Pedro, all the other channels are promoting that altcoins are doing their explosion thing like they did last year towards the end of September and October, and they're already moved into Pumptober, and I think I was wondering if they're calling it too early, because they kind of need, for really an altcoin pump, they need Bitcoin to consolidate for a while, so the people get bored with their money and put it somewhere else. And is that happening?
Well, so if we look at the market since February, we've been pretty much. Let me go ahead and put this out here real quick. And I thought we were going to come further, because I kept seeing the volume drop off, right, guys? So this is what I kept saying. I'm expecting a drop because volume is dropping off, and we're just kind of consolidating. Now, when you pull back, right, you can see the reds, right, as the market was going down here. We saw that the volume, the sellers were stepping in. Same thing that I brought up here, right? This last push up here, it is an increase in buyer volume, but if you look at it from a larger perspective, it is not necessarily like we're seeing right here. This right here is a different view here, right? Like as we were pushing up here, I was like, oh wow, it's a decent amount of volume. And I even said to you guys, like I said, we're at these levels here. This level versus this amount of volume, remember we were talking about this amount of volume coming in, right, was a lot less than this volume that we're seeing right here. So because of that, I was much more bearish in this aspect at this level. And I said, listen, I expect us to see it continue down. Now, I hope I'm wrong, because here's the thing. If we can get let me put it like this. If we can get a altcoin season ahead of time, that money will then can get transferred. Let's say people start to see a huge push and, like, let's say XRP starts pumping, right? And we start seeing this now making new highs, and we get up to this 89. We see ADA, right, start to climb, right? And like it starts to put in out higher highs, higher lows, right? And we start to see that. We see Doge, same thing, right? Like, and I want to pull up here so we can sit there and pull this out. you can see that as we're looking, like we are seeing a lot of volume, but we see more red volume than buyer volume. Like, look, these are huge sell-offs, huge sell-offs. So that's why, like, I'm hesitant when I look at the global things of crypto. Oh, wow, look at Sol. Sol pumped. Wow, Sol popped and popped it like it's hot here. So, boom, let me look and see what's going on here. Yeah, that's real volume. Look at that.
Well, they're doing their thing over there too. Breakpoint is I think it really gets fired up just after token 49 starts.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense here. Then look at this. You can see this as this is pumping, that this area here is looking nice. So look at that volume coming in. That's a good step in volume. Again, I would rather see it kind of look more like this, right? As it's going up, something that would be more typical of something like this. Like we want to see that type of push, not something that goes down, because this is what I'm saying. You see this right here? This goes down, and then look, it's the same. This is in the same time period that we saw that. This area push up. See how the volume comes down. See how the volume right here is going down versus up. So to me, this right here is in the same level as this pump right here, as you can guys see right up in this area here, right? Like this, boom.
Yeah.
That. So
looks like we're getting a lower high there.
Mm-hmm.
To the uneducated here.
Well, I think you're right, you know, and again, I hope I'm wrong. This is thing is, we all hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because if we see another rally, because I've been, you know, like I tell everybody, I'm dollar cost averaging, I'm putting in money, So for me, I would love to see us finally get going in this rally, and then it changes everything. You know, like all of a sudden everybody wants to know about crypto, everybody wants to talk to you, you know, and all of a sudden you're like, definitely. Right? So that's what I want. The reality, I think, is that we're putting in for another lower high to go lower, unfortunately. But, you know, so for, what is it? Crypto Mike. So for us dumbasses out there, Wind Moon. Yeah. Again, I think we're going to have to sit there and wait until Trump. I mean, to say it, you know, Orange Man is great for crypto. The fact is yesterday that he sat down, you know, with a ginormous, dude, can you believe how big that rally was in New York?
Yeah.
Even my friends, because I saw him and said, dude, was it really like that? He goes, dude, it was stupid.
Yeah.
The amount of people huge. Like the amount of people that came.
I mean, it was huge.
Huge, bro. Huge. It's understandable. Yeah, exactly. So again, like this is if that man, if he can get in office, crypto is solid. Like, and all of a sudden it gets going, and you know, and then we're all happy, right? Like, you know, Cardano's moving up. We're seeing everything, you know, crypto.com coin, everything, boom, everything skyrockets in flight, and all of a sudden it's just like, okay. Right, we kick on. We can start staking again, and we can start going through and doing all this stuff. So all of a sudden, it starts generating income. All the money from outside the United States comes back in, and
bring it, baby, bring it. Show me the money.
Yeah, and then hopefully that man does not try to go for a third term.
You'd have to change the Constitution, and regardless of how many red states there are not enough to do that.
Oh, dear Lord, this scares me. But
yeah. Remember, they need 50% plus one vote for him to be the president in each state. In each state, in order to change the Constitution, you need 3/4 of everybody, roughly. So that's just not going to happen.
Right. So I'm glad you said that.
The final frontier.
Welcome, Space Cat. Enjoy us in the gym.
Yep. But in the same sense, like I said, this right here, this is a good thing. I just want to see more volume. I want to see more volume coming in. Let's look at, not Litecoin, boom. Let's look at Tron. Tron is doing a little bit of a pump here, which I really like. Tron, and I just found this really interesting. Look at this big push, right? It's been going down. But if you look, a lot of that was, they took profit here. We can see that with here, okay? With really these red candles here. What was interesting is that I'm looking at this right here, this level here, and even though this is going down, if you look at, come on, let's go. Oh, that's fine. Boom, there we go. If you look at this area here, look at the amount of volume. That's like legitly, like it's probably 25% more volume on average here. Like look at this amount of volume here, right? Of just kind of chilling right here, this consolidation period.
Yeah.
And comparative to, let's say, right in this area, even in right in this area here, it's higher. Now you're like, well, it's 25%. What is that? That's a big deal. I know, like, you don't, if you look at the S&P 500, right? If you have a 10% amount of volume increase, that's a big deal because there's more buyers and sellers sitting in there. So I think that's really interesting. I'm gonna have to change my price point here. Instead of waiting for it to get back down to that 12-cent area on TRX, I think I'm gonna have to actually consider this local high here and playing potentially on the 14-cent area, because this increase in volume here in comparison to everything else is so it's a much better, you know, it's more of a better target in a sense. So if I see on a daily basis where we just keep playing here and I start seeing that 50 period moving average creep up, I'm gonna have to get in. This is where I'm gonna have to get in, you know, change my perspective. Market is always right. So these are the areas that I'm looking at right now. I still think as of right now, we're still coming down. But if we stay steady with this amount of volume here, I've got to reconsider, right? Because what's happening in the market is changing. So that's how I look at things. But
you using the whole fist, Doc?
oh, what's up, Charles?
Chuck Jansen in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Chuck Jansen, for joining us on this wonderful day.
Absolutely. Polygon been playing in our area here. Like I said, I wanted it to come down to the 31 cent. But again, I think potentially we could be seeing it because the market is moving up. So this is potentially moving up. Again, talking about this, our volume here is more of a down versus an upswing, right? So this is where it's got to pay attention to these little markers, and it'll kind of tell us what's going on. But if you want to be buying Matic at this level, I know, Chuck, you like Matic there. So this is a good area to be buying it at that 40-cent mark. If we do sell off, you're ready with that lower mark of that 38-cent or 30-cent area. But again, from a view of the volume, I sit there and I go, I'm more bearish because we're not seeing real volume come in as we're pushing up, except for Friday, September 13th, or Friday the 13th there. So this is just one of those things we need that's interesting, right? Friday the 13th there.
Yeah. Yes, I might have noticed that.
Yeah, yes.
Oops. God darn it. Sorry, Pedro.
You good, brother. You're good. So jumping back here to Bitcoin. Right now, Bitcoin is hitting that 200 period moving average, and it's still, like I said, I didn't know. I hope I'm wrong, but if we like this is a bunch of areas of sellers. So that 200 period, we have a daily zone right up below that. We have a good 4-hour strong zone right here. We already played off of this zone right here, as you guys can see. We sold off, right? So these are good signs because, one, we're having lower highs, right? Or excuse me, higher lows, right? Like higher low right here. We have a higher low right here, right? We just need to see that volume. If all of a sudden we start seeing volume pick up, right? Where it's just like boom, boom, boom. I'm like, all right, yeah, this we're getting going here.
I love it when you start seeing that volume picking up.
Yeah.
You don't know, you might not know which way it's going, but all of a sudden it's like the excitement comes back and you're like, people are awake.
Yes, that's exactly. And like I said, we are seeing volume pick up. And so I want to make sure we add, but it just, the volume pickup isn't necessarily the catalyst that we need to really get it up and running. We want to see, like I said, volume pick up, right? But as it's picking up, we want to see it more in a green sense, right? Where all of a sudden we just like, more than average, all of a sudden it's like this, and then we get a big green one like this, boom, and then it should taper off a little, and then we'll get another big green one, boom, and then it's just like
a big green.
Yeah. So things that we wanted to kind of look like this, but at a much higher level, because remember we talked about the previous bull run, which is right here, right? We look at this volume amount. We're talking the average volume when price was still at 30,000, right? This was the average volume when it was at even 60,000. Average volume was around here, and that pales in comparison. And I'll point this out so you guys can see. Look, this average volume when it was at 60,000. Okay, you can see that right there, right? This is when it was down in these lower levels right here, right? See that? Like the average-ish volume. Look, this is the average volume right here for us that we're currently are in at this cycle. You can see that it's a lot less. And this is what I keep kind of talking about. But instantly, like, look, that was here, right? Look right here, that was here, down here, right? Around where we're at. And look how all of a sudden it just said, all right, it's time to go, right? It's time to go. So that can happen, right? And then once we start to see a drop in volume again, and that's this area right here, right? Which is around this area that we're sitting at. This was the doldrums of the 2023 area, right? And we're about the same amount here as well. So when we're looking at that, we want to consider, like, are these fake outs or are these real volume, real money coming in? And so again, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that there's real money starts to come in and starts to run with it, and all of a sudden we're making everybody's happy, everybody's bags happy, and but I just don't see that until the election, unfortunately. Just because that's just how it rolls. In the hizzy, what's up? Oh yeah. Dude, I love Dr. J, dude. Dr. J, what's up?
The doctor is in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Doctor is in the house.
All
right, man.
Jansen.
Julius Jansen. Oh, that's good. That's good. So how you doing, Tom? What's going on with the news out there in the crypto markets?
I'm waiting for. Actually, I'm trying to program our guest coming on. He's supposed to come on at the bottom of the hour here, so I don't have my news up. And then behind the scenes, I was going through to make sure the tech was right. And when I switched things around with you yesterday, it turned out I had switched one of his things too.
Oh no!
Just for no other reason than it was stupid on my part. So I didn't have the news up. But
news sources.
Let's quickly. I just wanted to let's try and link in the topic of the show today, which I don't have in the thumbnail. Usually I'm able to have it in the thumbnail here, but I didn't have it in the thumbnail today. But it was the rates are down, and BTC is up. Can BTC and the alts pump? We started to allude to it earlier in alt season, or when we were talking about BTC needs to consolidate in order for the alts to run. That's the general idea. But can we slip out of the comfort zone here, and can both of them pump and really drive that overall crypto market cap up?
I think we can. I do think we can. I do think we can see a good little pumpage, right? Like, one of the things that I do, and I think this is important, right? Like, I have about, most people don't have this, but what I'll do is I'll put my trading view list here, and these are, ranging. These projects are ranging from all over the industry, right? And I'll just cut through. And what I'm looking at is I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at volume. And I just simply just kind of go like this. I just cycle through, boom, right? And I'm looking at from here to here, And I'm trying to see like what's actually happening. And if you want to branch it out, you can even go further. We cycle through real quick, right? And it's a good test. See what's going on. Boom, right? And you can play off of these. Here's Aptos. Boom, it's another one potential. We've seen a little pump with Arbitrum here, right? Nice. Boom. We're seeing a good little pump with Cosmo, right? Here we go. Boom. And I just cycle through these, right? Are we seeing volume come in? Right? Boom. That one, nice little pump there with Blast. Boom, boom. It's kind of falling off there. Boom, bonk, boom. A little bit of pump, but it's still not like it's like what we're seeing here, right? And we can just pump through that. 2, 3. And it can give you a good analysis of what we're actually looking for. And this is important for me because it then trains my mind to sit there and look, go boom here, boom here. And all of a sudden, it gives me that difference of, instead of saying, oh, we're moving up right now, right? Well, what is it in comparative to when we have moved up? And so I'm able to sit there and see what's actually happening. Oh, that's FTX, dude. I probably got to remove that one.
FTX.
Yeah, sorry. FTX, dude. Gala, look, Gala is still kind of dead there, but I feel like Gala is a good little one that could be getting ready to get pumped, man. Like I'm bullish on Gala. Boom. Crypto Mike is saying that's funny. H-bar, right? And this is another one that is just like I'm bullish on H-bar. We came down here. I bought a little bit down in here. I'm buying a little bit more, right? H&T. You guys know I'm hugely bullish on H&T.
Which is helium, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm actually thinking about putting a helium hotspot in the apartment here in Ottawa.
I don't understand why you haven't.
I don't know why either, because I've got a unlimited mega internet connection. I'm not metered by any means, and I looked on their map, and there's kind of a dry area right where I am, so I think it would be pretty good.
It's about time you do it. Get it done. Chop, chop. No. And when you do it, you're supposed to throw some my way as well. Yeah. Anyways. Oh shoot, we got somebody in the houses. Z. What's
the people
up?
can't. Only you can see that, Pedro.
Oh yes, I am a little slow there sometimes.
Right.
Special. My mommy said I was special, so that's a good thing.
Exactly.
I had my nice little hat on, my short bus that took me directly to school. I didn't have to wait for nobody.
But anyway, Pedro, to finish off the topic, I'm struggling with it because I watch a bunch of the other, KOL people on TV here, and talking about everything gonna pump, and as I said, most of them are talking about alt season coming, and they've mentioned alt season coming. Even we've mentioned it. Alt season's here. Everything's gonna moon, and it started to, and then it was a bull trap, and then it all dumped out, and then the institutions took their money and ran, and then everyone else ran, and the money just kind of dried up, and volume dried up, and now all of a sudden everyone's saying, oh, it's alt season because October's coming, and just because it's October to me doesn't mean anything. I mean, if it moves the lemmings and everyone starts to act en masse because it's October, that's one thing. But just because it's this time of the year, it's not anything to me. But to get both BTC and the altcoins running, we need to see some serious money coming in. We need to see the ETF money increase and we need to see some money come into the ETFs on Ethereum. We need to see the altcoins not just their prices move a lot anyway because of the liquidity LP ratios and things like that. But we need to see volume. We need to see volume coming in and people talking about it, from more than just the people like you and me on the internet. And is there anything in any of your charts or anything like that leads to the fact that, well, maybe both of these could pump?
So I'm going to point out the S&P 500 here real quick. Okay. And I know this is going to sound really different. This is where, because where I cut my teeth on was the S&P 500. So this is where, and right now, this is where the big institutions are sitting at, right? So, and so money if you understand how the S&P 500 now works, because the people who are going to direct crypto is honestly going to be the institutions now, right? And so I bring this up because it's important to understand the psychology of how they go through. And I talked about this yesterday. I felt like a little bit ad nauseum, but this is important to reiterate. Now, there's a lot of novices that are buying, okay? And I'm talking retail. The institutions need their orders. Like, they legitimately need their orders so that they can offload and unload their positions, right? That's why you have like a Jim Cramer. But I talked about yesterday, you don't necessarily need a Jim Cramer anymore because our generation doesn't pay attention to Jim Cramer. Our generation and younger looks at, Elon Musk, look at Zuckerberg's, looks at other platforms that were created by Google, right? And you have all these now small little talking heads that have their own group of people that they listen to. So you don't need a front man. You just need, you have a lot of incels, or what? Not incels.
That's okay.
Sorry, let's mess that all up.
That's a term our guest would use.
Dude. Oh, bro. Oh, forgive me, God, help me, please. But what I'm saying though,
yes, Mike, we're supposed to do the opposite of Kramer says. So when he says Bitcoin's down, we're all buying.
yeah, that's exactly right. So they offload stuff. So what I'm trying to bring up is this. Look, you can see how we've had this big push here, right? Here's our down market.
I don't have your chart up anymore.
Okay. Do you not want me to show this here?
Yeah. I was just saying, give me a second here to bring it back.
Okay. All right.
I've still got that issue where everything's 5 seconds behind and me changing screens and stuff.
It is all good. Boom. So
there we go.
Boom. Okay, so this is a good example. This initial point here, and then I'll point this out here because this was kind of a crazy situation that was happening here. But even then, it's just right here, and this is moving up. All right, so we are going through, and as you see, every time we go up, either it goes sideways volume or down volume. Like down volume, it went up right here, but then it sold off, right? So they brought everybody in when they sold off. Here, one of the biggest volume marks here, right, was the sell-off here that we saw from July to August here, okay? Then now, look at the volume. Look at the volume on the S&P 500. You see how we hardly have any here? Like, that right there is important because there's hardly any volume here, right? And if this was going to be pushing higher, I mean, dude, we just literally communicated what yesterday? We're lowering rates. Holy crap, Piccoli, it's on like Donkey Kong. The economy is going to start running right. It's like
it's online Donkey Kong, ladies and gentlemen.
Bing, right? It's time to go. Dun 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 dun. Should be having right now. Okay? And look at today's volume. Does this not look like an exhaustion candle? Exactly. Ding ding. Ding ding. Right? That's exactly so I love that, dude. Yeah. So I just this is what I keep bringing up. So when I'm looking, this is where I cut my teeth at. Like literally. So you can see every time this happens, like look in 2000, and I probably shouldn't bring this up, but look at 2008. Like it was the same thing. Like 2008. If you go back and look at the volume back in 2000. 2001 or 1999, 1998, right? Like you had very, very similar situations that they keep playing the same card over and over and over. And so for me, and this thing just wants to be.
You got that all behind our heads again or whatever.
I know. I'm actually doing it. So.
Then we got about 10 seconds. There's about 30 seconds left in this segment here.
Yeah. So it's just look, same thing that we saw. Okay. And it's the same thing over and over. They don't change. It stays the same way. And each generation just gets pummeled every single time. And so I just don't want us to. I'd rather be smart. And we can, like I said, dollar cost average. So if we want a dollar cost average, this dollar cost average. But I believe we're seeing a decreasing value even though the market pushes up. I know it sounds like doesn't make sense, but that's what the volume And this is
Right.
how the institutions play.
So we need the volume. It just gets right down to it. We need the volume.
Show me the volume.
All right, Cuba Gooding Jr. Show me the volume.
Show me. Help me. Help you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, taking a little turn from the show today. I hinted at it yesterday that we'd be bringing a new partner to the DYOR Media Network on a distribution basis. And I hinted at the group would be doing Pedro and I get into politics and regulation here and there in the going-ons in the we won't say in a political world, but in the world that politics exists, and the fact that it runs in the U.S. is trying to run crypto into the ground, the rest of the world is trying to run it into the moon, and all that. And some friends of ours, some friends of yours, or at least one friend of yours that's been on the show a lot, started a new podcast, The Crypto Swamp Creatures. Now, I love that name. I heard that, and I was like, they talk about the ex-president saying, drain the swamp. And then here we have our guest saying, hey, we are creatures of that swamp. So we're not going anywhere, but we're going to come here and bring our knowledge to you guys here. And I'm going to try and do this technology stuff again here. And a frequent guest on our show that fills in a lot of times when Pedro isn't here, Chris Alexander, and I hit the wrong button, so I was trying to do this. No, that's not what I was trying to do. It decided that he would partner with one of his good friends and colleagues and do this Crypto Swamp Creatures podcast here. And he decided that instead of just trying to market it all on their own and do all that, and I've been out there looking for content creators and things like that, and we came to kind of a good idea. Bling! Actually, it was Chris's idea. I'll take credit for it, but that why don't we just add to the type and style of shows on the DYOR Media Network to bring that other crowd that we really do kind of try and hit, that the regulation and policy crowd and wonk crowd, talking heads type stuff, which I really like. I can do that all day. But I'm not particularly good at it because you need that network of people to talk to about it. I've got Pedro here, who's very deep into the news and in the crypto charts and all that. But neither of us are from that Washington, D.C. area, and we get it from a general idea, not from wading through the swamp every day. So I'm going to bring on our guest of the show here today, Chris Alexander, who you guys have seen before. Give him a hand, a big shout out, that type of stuff. Chris, you're on mute. I unmuted you. There you go, Chris. Welcome to the show.
I feel like I should do like jazz hands coming in.
Absolutely.
I was watching Pedro trying the future, and all I could think of is, does that make him a good witch or a bad witch? But did you say Gala, like Gala Games token in there? Did I hear that right?
Pedro, you're on mute.
You're on mute, but it looks like he's saying yes.
Yes. Oh, wow. This whole entire time I've been on mute. I love it. Oh, yeah. I love it. Dude, I so much love the fact that you saw that. Yeah. Dude, I've got quite a wide range of guys that I look at. A lot of stuff from old times, like, like Sandbox,
Yeah.
Vet. I look at Vet. I think Vet is another one that we'll probably see a resurrection of sometime. They've got some good stuff. What's the other one that I really like? Go ahead.
So to follow that
Sorry.
up, Chris, what's your interest in Gala there? Have we had a previous introduction to them?
I do. I think due to ongoing litigation, there may be limits to what I can say. It doesn't involve me, but I know a guy who made several hundred million dollars with Gala. He had Gala nodes from the very beginning, and then it hit, what was its all-time high, 70 cents or whatever, and he cashed out. And he's a former Navy SEAL, and I said, he at one point he had part of an island. I'm like, you have an island, you're a SEAL, you have 100 million. I'm like, you're an actual Bond villain, like you're qualified. That's really kind of cool when you think about it. But I bought some when it dropped like 2-3 years ago down to like 30 cents. And then I waited for it to go back up. Still waiting. Then I bought some when it was like at 9, very, very small amounts, hundreds of dollars. But when you mentioned it, I got all excited, and then I went, "Oh my God, it's that low."
Yeah.
So I haven't been following it because I don't really do short-term trades. So, that was the most speculative thing I think I bought. Well, I did accidentally buy $20 worth of what I thought were BlackRock tokenized
tokens. Yeah.
asset tokens
Yep.
on MetaMask, but I was testing that one.
Make sure you
They're not available. Don't do that.
Yeah.
This is not investment advice. So, anyways, I didn't wear a suit.
Love it.
As instructed. So, we're really excited. Justin couldn't be here. He's running a focus group, but for the crypto swamp creatures, we're both swamp adjacent. We like to open each show explaining some insider DC thing that sounds pompous, but it's kind of really a joke, whether it's watches or who can get a table at Le Diplomat, or what have you. But I've known Justin for a long time. We've worked on some projects, the $80 billion Amtrak request of Congress. I ran the comms team and he ran the research. We worked for the city of Irvine in California. We worked for a crazy nutraceutical company once. We've done a lot together, and he's on TV all the time, more than I am, with his own polling company and research company. And so we talk about polling, we talk about policy, and the first full DYOR episode that's going to come out, we got to spend, I think we spent an hour with him, the former Attorney General of Virginia, and a guy who's done a lot of crypto litigation for the crypto community, Ken Cuccinelli. And so
and he ran for governor.
He did. He had a really funny line. He said, he lost the governor's race by under 2 points.
Oh.
And we talked about two things with him. We talked about politics and polling a little bit. Again, we're not ideological. We just talk about kind of the running and who's doing things the right way, the wrong way, and what have you. We try not to take sides. And then we talk about policy. We got to do both with him. But he lost by 2 points, and he said he's a very religious guy. But he said, it wasn't in God's plan for me to be the governor of Virginia. To which I said, well, Ken, God didn't want Justin or I to be the governor of Virginia either, but we didn't come within 2 points. So, my hat's off to you. But yeah, so he really just gave, what do you call a master class? He talked about challenges with the SEC and cryptocurrency, and was able to do it from 1,000-foot level down to, this was not legal advice, but worth considering. So, explain how regulation by enforcement works with the SEC. He explained something that anyone who's trying to fundraise for a crypto project should know about, and that's something called the Howey test,
right.
and how that's applied. And he beat the SEC on behalf of someone that him and I both worked for. I think repeatedly. Or all as part of one case, but really slapped him down. And that was that crazy office out in Utah that they closed down, and the two lawyers, the two prosecutors that ran it, resigned.
Oh, wow.
Because they were sanctioned by a judge. It's wild. So really excited about that, and obviously I hope to maintain my job as a DC bureau chief.
We want you to.
But yeah, so really excited. We'll see what we can do, and I really hope Gala goes up, because it needs to go up a lot for me to get my
Well, I'll put it like this: if Gala, and when I mean this, when I say this is a good thing. Okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot of resistance above, but that resistance is weak. And it could potentially just shoot up easily to 31 cents.
Please.
Yeah, you're all please. And The only thing that we're going to be playing with here is really that 100 period moving average, which again, it would shoot up to 22 cents. And we could easily do that. I mean, look, the volume here you can see is picking up, you know, and that to me is what I look at, right? I look at three things, right? Zones, volume, and wicks. And this is showing me nothing but positive things. Look, it sold off. People are buying in. It sold off. People are buying in. Every time it sells off, you see buyers coming in. There's not one wick here until you got, I mean, this was last year. Oh, not last year, but this is the consolidation period, right? If anybody knows anything about like.
Just so you know, Pedro, we can't see your chart. So talk through.
Oh, what am I doing, dude? I'm so sorry.
I could. I was like all into it.
Oh yeah, you can because I show it to you behind the scenes.
I forget that's it. Let's just we'll talk about. I want to talk about your show because I'm really looking forward to it. And one thing that I'm really looking forward to is really the insider view of what's actually happening in Washington, and really sitting there saying, you know, like when I talked about, dude, why doesn't anybody slap Trump and tell him stop being an idiot, don't bring up dogs and cats, and you know, and you're like, well, the problem is the man is a genius in marketing. So he kind of knows how I say I know the undercurrent of the market, right? Even though the market looks like, or even though the market looks like it's going
the undercurrent.
Yeah, the Trump he sets that. Yeah, so you can.
Yeah, I'm with you. What I would say to people, and we're engaging quite a bit, mostly on Twitter, X, whatever it's called. You know, the big hearings today. Yesterday and today on the Hill, and a common thing I see from the crypto crowd: oh, nothing's going to change. Oh, this sucks. Well, it's not a dictatorship. The ship moves slowly by design, and what you don't realize is that hearing where what everyone's going to say, and 80% of them are lying, and 10% of them don't know what's happening, and another 5% don't know what's happening and are lying. The fact is that you pick off a couple staffers, you pick off one member of Congress, and it's a game of inches. And
you're talking about from an election cycle to be
I'm talking about from these hearings and things where people get frustrated.
Not the word pick off with other people used differently.
Well, you're also educating. You're also educating, right? So you may get one staffer, and then all of a sudden they get it like Larry Fink. I used to be against crypto. Exactly. Now I'm for it because I did some real research and realized, oh wow, this is amazing, right?
And how do you think the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs got passed? Right. It was a gazillion hearings, and they just picked off just enough people that ended up persuading, and I don't mean it directly, but so I'm kind of correlating here, but they got just enough momentum out of those hearings that they got the votes that they needed in the SEC. Yeah. Right. And keep in mind, Gensler was the tiebreaker for Bitcoin. He voted against Ethereum, so somebody was willing to switch places with him, so to speak, and be the vote for while he voted against. And I don't know how their votes are conducted. I'm not suggesting any collusion. My point is, these things matter. C-SPAN is the most boring network on earth. I mean, maybe the Home Shopping Network, but even then you might find something you want to buy there. So, I get you don't want to watch it. And I knew a lobbyist, and he got out of lobbying, and he does digital advertising now for political campaigns. I asked him, hey, why'd you change? And he goes, I went to a hearing one day, and I knew what every single person was going to say before they said it. And I said, I got to do something different. I don't even care about that. It's a kabuki dance, but we try to make it entertaining, and we'll hope to keep getting some high profile guests who know this stuff, and we'll share a little bit of the inside baseball. And the last thing I'll say is what we have a Medium where we share the show prep. So if we're talking about something, it's because either Justin found it or I did, and we're batting it back and forth. So you can look at the same links and the same information we're looking at, and we want to be fully transparent and help people understand this stuff.
I think that's so important. just simply because from a layman standpoint, most people don't have the time to really go in depth and then have to sit there and listen to Fox and then CNBC and then go on this site and this site, right? And then catch the cross betweens where you actually have real truth, right? And I think this is where you guys are going to shine, because you can sit there and cut through the malarkey and say, look, here are the talking points. This is where the real fight's happening. And here's the truth, and here's all the spin, you know.
You're so right. And when I first came to DC and I was talking, no, it is a lobster. This is they're called Pagan Kyoto. They make they find remnants of kimonos, and they make Hawaiian shirts out of it. Great guys. And by the way, I thought it was a joke. It said Robster with an R. And I'm like, oh, that's really funny. They're saying lobster with, on a Robster. But it was actually a typo. They fixed it after I ordered it. So one of the things that happened,
hold on one sec here. We got to give out the holler here for Chuck Jansen. He's giving this super chat here, ladies and gentlemen, to our newest DYOR Media partner, Crypto Swamp Creatures, just for the shirt, donated $5 to the channel.
I mean,
look at that.
Pretty soon,
we're already in profits here with your show.
Tens of dollars of revenue coming in.
Tens, halves of tens.
When I got to DC, I'm like, this guy, like, what, blah blah, just this jerk, and people are like, well, actually, no, Senator so and so loves this stuff. Can't come over to our side on this right now. An example of this, someone who a friend of mine actually got into a shouting match with walking into Capitol Hill once, is Maxine Waters.
Really?
Yeah.
She can shout?
He is an African-American Republican, and she made some snide comment to him, and he was like a junior staffer, and he didn't care. He got like right in her face. He's like, how dare you call me that? And they had a whole kerfluffle. He's kind of famous for it. She do this off the top of my head now, but she see,
this is what he's going to bring to the table. Like, we don't get this, right? Like, you don't go on CNN, you can't get this. Even going watching C-SPAN, you ain't going to get this. This is the stuff that you're going to bring to the table. Now, talk to me, Goose.
Here's the crux of it, and I forget which vote is which, but like maybe it was SAB 21 or it was, I forget which one it was, but she signaled she wasn't going to vote for it, but she wasn't going to oppose it. And she started to move over because I suspect, and I don't have any insider knowledge about this, but I suspect she sees the real advantage to how crypto can help the unbanked and underbanked in the United States. I think she inherently gets that, and that is something for a constituent she cares about. A lot of her policy views I don't agree with. Probably a lot of people into crypto are more on the libertarian side, and she's pretty far from that. But A, crypto should be bipartisan, and B, she's sort of pulling for it to some extent, and but she can't go too far. She's got constituents, and she's made deals to do things that are more important. And so it leads me to one other thing that's always tough to hear for people that are new to policy, because you never cared before, but now you own crypto, you care about crypto, and you're like, who's running the show? Like, how does this work? Very, very few voters are single issue voters. Campaigns don't care about single issue voters. They just don't matter.
And there's nothing they can do about them.
Yeah, and I would argue, and Jess and I talked about this on the show, and we're looking at the polls, that single issue crypto voters are probably in a rare category where they matter more than most other issues for single issue voters because they care so much about it. But at the end of the day, if you're not the top three things that the campaign's polling, they're not gonna worry that much. So case in point, the Republicans have supported crypto. They put it in their platform. They talk about it. I guess Trump tried to buy everybody around eventually with some Bitcoin, and has done a lot of outreach to the Bitcoin industry. And the Democrats refuse to utter the word crypto. It's not on their platform. Kamala Harris doesn't say the
She
word.
doesn't even mention it. Doesn't exist.
No. They had the Crypto for Harris event. Chuck Schumer kind of spoke generically about crypto, then said there'd be common sense legislation, which I thought, like banning it? I'm kidding.
Right.
I don't think he wants
They
to ban
got
it.
that from the anti-gun movement.
Yeah.
But what's common sense mean in this case? Like CBDC only? I mean, is it to tax it? Is it support it? We don't actually know. But Chuck Schumer then did release a letter to his constituents, or a kind of an all colleagues thing. Anyways, he was talking about his legislative agenda, and crypto didn't appear on it. So if it's happening, it's not only not happening in this session coming up, but maybe not even this time next year. So we'll see. But there's a lot of sausage making that goes on, and we want to try to explain that. So, but it's always fascinating hearing about why someone didn't do something or why they can't do it. And I had a Hill staffer say to me, I was coming from DoD and the intelligence community, and he's like, you guys have like a straight line, like there's a process to follow, and it works. Every time we figure out a process to make it work, it's like an ant farm. Everything gets shaken up, or the staircase rearranges itself. Like you can never get to the same way twice. And so there's a lot of challenges. And if you don't like obtrusive government, don't expect a hearing to change everything in an industry. Like that's not how the founding fathers envisioned the government working. It's incredibly difficult to do things. Everything is a fight, and that's the purpose. So people really should support the Digital Chamber and the Satoshi Action Fund and all these different groups. Stand with Crypto. A lot of money
I think Pedro is the person I've been trying to get on the show. I have a feeling instead she'll be on your show.
I don't know. I mean, we'll try. I'll tell you what. Whichever of us makes a donation first gets her on the show, guaranteed.
I think we're gonna take Chuck's $5 for your shirt. Send it right to Pedro.
You just do it. But yeah. So we hope to share that stuff, and maybe every once in a while we'll have some weirdo from Meyer Justin's passed on as well. We can have our Spycraft half hour or whatever.
We can do it on location from the Spy Museum in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
That thing is kind of cool. But what happened is, like, certainly by the time I got in, it's all like electrons and techie stuff. And so it's totally uncool, right? Like what you do with it's pretty cool, but like no more exploding pens. Although, a buddy of mine I better not say it. A buddy of mine who's in the intelligence community still, we were talking about the Israelis and the pagers, and I'm like, it's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. Did they send like exploding pens, like, and those got like declined, and they're like, all right, let's try pagers. But
they all say Acme on the side of it.
Yeah, Acme Pen Company. But actually, the pagers were done because they were worried their phones could be tapped.
Oh wow.
So
Right.
So they went to pagers, and now they're a little nervous about them.
I saw one video of people like putting their TVs and stuff in the alley and stuff like that. took all the electronics out of their house.
From a psychological operation,
it's just genius.
Yeah, they're afraid of their own stuff. Now, what's strange is, I actually share a little story about this. It's actually kind of funny.
Chuck, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Good luck. Get some Gala, please. Kidding.
But he's not.
There's something called X spray, and it's like an aerosol, and then if it turns black, there's explosive residue. I mean, I guess you can't buy it easily. I mean, we have it, but that's all they needed to do. If you'd have sprayed X spray with that, in all likelihood you would have seen it, unless the Israelis have a counter X spray, which they might. I mean, that's how that game is played. But
rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season.
That's how it works.
Rabbit season.
I'm gonna have to run to a meeting, but I'll leave you with this. I was in a National Guard unit at the end of the time that I was in, and we had these really cool little patrol rucksacks, little tiny like purses that attached onto my 100 pounds of gear I had to carry as a reconnaissance platoon. And I kept that thing. I reported it lost. Fraudulent. But
don't tell nobody.
The last thing we did was a demolitions range. And so this backpack was holding, I don't know, they're little bricks, right? They're like, I think it's a pound, used to be a pound and a half, of C4. So I had like 10 pounds of C4 plastic explosives in this bag. Got out, kept the bag. And you can burn C4, heat and pressure to detonate it. It's very stable. It's a point you can cook with it if you wanted to use that for heat, which maybe use something less expensive to heat something, but not that you can have an open flame on a battlefield. But I digress. So I get to Dulles Airport. I am now a civilian advisor, and I am going to Iraq. It's like 2006, maybe 2005, 2006. And so I get to the the little check-in, and I put my carry-on bag in, and like all these alarms go off, and I'm like, oh man, like now I gotta what is there do I have a sharp pen, like whatever? So the guy is like, hey, probably just a false positive, and then he whips out a swab, and I see him put the X-spray on it, and he goes, and it is black. I still don't remember like what that I had, and I'm like,
forgot about it, of course.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, huh. And the guy, it's so black. The guy's like, oh, that can't be right. So he does it again. And in the interim, the other guy, there's books in there. He's taking the books out, right? And he's putting them down. One is Islamic terrorism. There's a Quran.
Bro, how do you?
Right? And the other guy's like, where are you going? I'm like, oh, Iraq. And
are you in the military? No,
he got.
So then the guy does it the second time, and it's black, and he just looks at me. At that point, he just goes, "We have a problem." and I'm like, and then everything clicked, and I'm like, oh my god. I
forgot.
and then I almost said it out loud, and I'm like, how do I say this? So I said, luckily I kept my ID card. It hadn't fully expired yet. And so I took my military ID out, and I had kind of like orders saying I was going to Iraq. And I said, I'm going to Iraq, on our side. I'm like a counterinsurgency advisor. So I'm like, that's why I have all this stuff. And I said, I know what's going on with the bag. I just realized it. I told him a story. I'm like, I was in a guard unit. I was in 19 Delta. We were doing a demolitions range. So I think you're getting the hit because, and I just like very quiet, I was like, because there were, explosives in the bag. Because the last thing I want is anyone else to hear. And they like looked at the totality of it, and they were like, all right. And like, they let me get it. There was no danger, no threat of any kind, right? I just had clearly been transporting explosives because I had been, transporting. So
I had a similar thing happen to me. Well, I wouldn't say similar, but I went through TSA, and
when were you carrying explosive?
They marked up my bag. They took my bag, and it went through the search, and it came up positive. And they're like, and the guy goes, and the other lady said, "Are we scheduled for a test?" And the lady manager goes, "No." And I'm like, oh no. And they're like, "Is this your bag?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Well, we need to completely search it, and you got to come over here and this type of stuff." And I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "It turned up positive." And I'm like, "Well, that's my gun bag." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "That's my gun bag." And they're like, "Where's your gun?" And I said, "In my suitcase in the belly of the plane." I said, "But that's my gun bag." And they looked more into it, and I had my ears and a bunch of other stuff. But it was my range bag. But it was a casual one that I used for other things too. And But I happened to be going somewhere, which I was going to a training class, and so I had my gun, that type of stuff. And but I still didn't know why it would mark it I what I realized is that I had previously had a whole bunch of empty shells in it. It was 45. They're dirty and stuff, and I didn't have them in a bag. They were just in the bag, and so there was burnt powder and all that type of stuff. And so they were like, "Wait a minute, where'd you say your gun was?" I'm like, "It's in the plane." You know.
It's in the belt.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was going to Vegas, so they were like, you know, they're Vegas, okay, whatever, you know. But
Here, I'm going to DC, you know, Washington.
Political convention.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to run, but you did make me think of one other event.
Daryl Lawton says, but when an Irish guy walks around with explosive residue.
All right, Darren. So this will be what I'll leave with.
Off to the clink there, me laddie.
I worked with one of the SAS guys or British Intel guys who did the exactly, crypto Mike, who did the Londonderry raid. So if you don't know that, look that up. But it was really like anthropology in action. They figured out that at that point, Irish teenagers and 20-year-olds didn't know how to do their own laundry. So 5, 6 of the internal guys and the SAS set up a laundry service. And then they passed out coupons.
Laundry.
And then straight up, it was a laundry service.
Oh, okay.
And they passed out a real one, and they passed out coupons to do the laundry, and it was like turn in your first batch of laundry and get 50% off. And then they tested for explosive residue, and then they worked their way down to the quadrant of the city. And the reason they had to do that was they knew that this cell was going to do something like serious with a bomb, and they went to the judge and they said, we need to surveil the city. And they're like, the city of, and they're like, Londonderry. And the judge is like, no, you're not surveilling an entire city. I don't care if you think there's a bomb or not. And so they had to reduce it down to, I think the judge said, like, give me a street. I'll let you do one full street. So they did it through a laundry, all because IRA guys weren't doing their own laundry. Done in.
Gotta love it. Anyway, Chris, thanks for joining us today. We're looking forward to having the crypto swamp creatures on the show here. There's going to be generally a few little segments per week coming out, hopefully.
Yes.
All the topics of the hand, or topics in the news that are at hand at the time. And so we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to growing the views, growing the channel, and doing all that with you and Justin.
Yep, and we'll get Justin on here one of these days as well. So he knows virtually nothing about crypto. But I did get him to set up a wallet, and he has some currency in it.
Excellent.
All right, Chris. Enjoy
Thanks
the
so
rest
much,
of the day.
Take it easy.
Late. Oh, that was a great story, man. Oh, dude.
I know, those are all good.
Dude, those are. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, let me tell you something. Explosives.
Right.
Explosives.
We just got triple derated.
They legitimately do. Like we're no longer. We're they like move these guys off of the algorithm. They're done. Speaking of that, please hit the like and the share button.
Yeah, we need. This has been. We've done two things today. We had a little bit. We had a much later showtime today, and on YouTube and on the Elon Musk platform. We switched over to streaming on the DYOR Media channel. Account instead of my Striking Balls account, so the views are way lower today in all aspects of everything. So hitting that like button, sharing this the best you can, surely helps us. But not every day is a banger day. I mean, as far as content and stuff, we had great content. I love it. I love these talks we have, and I'm looking forward to the podcasts that those two put out. And you know what I'm looking forward to, Pedro? I'm looking forward to some new content that I'm not in.
Yeah, so you can actually not be a part of it and still,
right.
Yeah, we can push it out.
Exactly.
It's gonna be fun.
Jesus, Jesus the Lord shows up. Good morning, Chumbalones and Chumbalinas.
You missed out. Oh man, listen, do us a quick favor. Go back 15 minutes, and hit double speed, and then catch up, because that was a great interview by Chris. I mean, that was good. That was really good. Yeah, you know what's even more interesting is really with them talking about, I think it's going to be a hit. And the reason why I think it's going to be a hit is one, the stuff they're going to talk about is just fascinating, right? Like being able to sit there and engage and hear, like you said, what's actually happening in Washington on just the story of hearing, oh, why am I forgetting her name? Dude, the girl who can't be, she's the Democrat. Why am I forgetting her name?
Kamala Harris?
No. The story that he was telling us about how she was going in and out, how they started yelling at each other.
Maxine Waters.
Maxine Waters, thank you. I'm just hearing that inside communication, dude, is like who actually has that, right? Who actually talks about these things, right? And
people in Washington D.C., not people in Chicago and in
exactly. Exactly. And it's nice to actually hear these little things saying, you know what, there's a rumbling going on for crypto, right? But they just can't support it right now, right? So it's almost like one of those things that what we were talking about where, Gensler actually had to switch positions and actually change, and somebody hit his actual vote, right, to actually vote for that, and he swapped. But for him to give that up, and this actually leans to the thought of potentially that Gensler is probably pro crypto, but he can't just come out and say it because of the situations that he's in. And I mean, the fact that he keeps losing, and it almost seems like it's purposeful, so it's kind of nice to hear those little stories, and he's going to bring him and his partner are going to bring that to I think just to the limelight, and I think it's gonna explode. I do.
Yeah, I agree. Arcade, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Coming up to us from the Elon Musk platform.
Yes. Please hit the like and share button.
Yeah, hit that like button, share button, follow button,
That
whatever
helps
it is
you.
over there. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We've had a light duty show today because we
Yes.
moved our streaming stuff around. But we did have a great guest on earlier and an announcement talking about a new podcast on our channel. I shouldn't say just podcast. I should say show. The Crypto Swamp Creature show.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Starring Chris Alexander and Justin Wallen, who will bring the Washington D.C. aspect to point of it, and some great stories. We talked about everything from politics to explosives today with them or with Chris.
Don't say the word.
It's too late, man. It's
Things
already
that go
littered with
boom.
it.
Right.
Jesus, yes, it's a green market today. You're right, and I even made 83 cents on a trade during the show, I might add.
Definitely.
Well, I closed it out during the show. I had opened it beforehand. Yeah. This will be a good time. Let's. I'm gonna take over the screen here for a minute, Pedro.
Please do.
Of course, this is really pissing me off. I literally work every day with the developers of this software, sending them log files and all this type of stuff. There we go. And of course, that wasn't the right one. Anyway, this is the time we're going to talk about our sponsor, BitFi, down here, and our partner. Right below me is this QR code. If you haven't taken a picture of it with your phone and gone over to BitFi to sign up, why haven't you? You literally get free money. If you don't know how to trade futures, perpetuals, and want to learn about it, this is something you should be doing. Because, and I'm not saying that you need to risk your money by using leverage trading and all that type of stuff. I'm just saying if you want to play the market as it goes up and goes down, you need to use a central exchange. And our central exchange that we're partnered with here, BitFi, no KYC, no nothing. They just give you a wallet to send a few bucks to. If you send $100 to it, they give you $100 free to trade, and you can trade with $200. It's a good thing. And if you're someone who has a lot of money, you can deposit a lot more and get up to right now $3,000 in. Let's see that. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. My chart is there. I've got the BitFi screen up here, and it's the BitFi USDT perpetual screen on it, which means the perpetuals is the crypto word for futures, because traditional futures markets, the contracts expire and you roll them over into different months or different quarters. Crypto perpetuals just go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. You don't have to worry about them either losing all their value or going to zero towards an expiration date.
Like traditional futures.
Like traditional futures do, right? But anyway, as my computer frame rate is getting low now, for those of you in gaming, I've got the equivalent of about 5 frames per second on my end here. It's really lovely. Just love it. Just love it so much. But anyway, if you haven't signed up for BidFi, please do so. For those of you watching on X, on Elon Musk's platform, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And you should also
please hit that share button.
Yeah, hit the share button, all that type of stuff, and click this thing and sign up for an account. You don't even have to use your real information because there's no KYC involved and all that type of stuff.
Until we get to the higher levels.
Pedro, I got to take a quick, as they say, a bio break right here.
Gotcha.
I'm going to give the screen back over to you for a second. And
excellent. Alrighty, guys. Well, while Tom takes care of some business here, taking care of. Dude. Let me go over some stuff here, and go over some of the altcoins that I'm definitely looking at, as well as checking out some of the stuff that we actually went over the other day. I think it was Baby Doge that had gotten listed. So let's check that out here real quick and see what's actually happening with Baby Doge. Baby Doge. Baby D-O-G-E. What is it? D-O-G-E. Baby. That's my baby Doge. That's my baby Doge. That's my baby Doge. All right, guys. So you can see here real quick. I talked about this being a weak zone here. I think it was on Wednesday or Tuesday that we had talked about this. So with this said, I said I do expect it to kind of see a bit of a sell-off, and then us just to kind of climb through this area and kind of crush through it until we see it kind of push up into these higher levels that we're talking about. With that said, if we can get above this area here, which is that 0.835, that next level is literally either 0.084 and or potentially 0.85, 0.86 area. Because, you know, like I said, there's been a lot of volume kind of coming into this abnormally because they just got listed, and it's a lot of people fighting for it. So right now it's still at a low rate, and when you look at the overall movement of Baby Doge, this could catch, you know, we could see a potential all-time high on here. So, you know, it's one of those things that we just, you know, kind of look forward to seeing. I personally, I talked about us coming down into this little lower level here, right? Thinking we were going to hit this area to see it kind of come through here, which is going to be around that, you know, 0.816 to the 0.814 ish area. I like this area. It's a again, if we do see a sell-off, I would expect us to come down, find some support on this, and then potentially push up even higher. Jumping back to the daily chart here. So we're seeing this. Oh, did this thing just pop through? Wait, what is going on here? Something just happened. That doesn't seem right. Don't you love when they start to play a little bit weird on ya? Here we go. Where are you at? Oh, I was going to say something just happened. Boom. Here we go. Boom. So just these little areas here. This thing's looking like it's starting to pump a little. So, I mean, look, guys, we could see like I said, we could see this thing kind of push through this area here and see it kind of climb higher. So that's what I am expecting to see this thing do. I was hoping that we can hit this area here, come down, hit this 8-period moving average, and then see it create new higher highs and higher lows. But we'll see what's up. My hope is that hopefully this takes off for my good man Jesus over there. I know that he's been trying to. He hit me up the other night. And I felt so bad because I told him, I shot him with the screenshot, and I said to him, "Hey, brother, look, man, you need to be paying attention because we could see a bit of a sell-off." And Jesus, the Lord and Savior, was like, so we started talking about trading, all this other stuff. And then lo and behold, I found out the man went long. And was it yesterday? Wasn't it yesterday? I think it was yesterday or yesterday. So I think it would have been Wednesday, Tuesday. So it would have been Tuesday night is when you had gotten long, right? I believe, because it went up and then sold off. And so, but look, man, it's a nice little area here. You know, it's not bad. We should see a push through this area and see some climbing. So you should be about break even right now. Look, man, hopefully you bought some as we saw the sell-off and then got things going. Let's effing go. Market gaining momentum. Yeah, dude, it's starting to get going, man. So, but again, I just want to see more Jesus. He's talking about Jesus. Awesome. Okay, let's check out here real quick. Check out a few what Bitcoin is doing right now, because you're saying that we're really starting to capture some momentum here. So let's see what's up. We'll come back and look at Gala here in just a second for Chris. For Chris's sake. All right, guys. So you can see here, yeah, it's definitely. So we're starting to see a pumpage. Man, if we could see a good volume day where all of a sudden we see get above at least 43, bill, or just in this lower level. Come on, right here. If we could see it just get above the volume of like 1,000 being traded, that doesn't seem right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is. If we get a 2,000 or 3,000 Bitcoin off of here being traded, because it's on Bitfinex. Yeah, let me try Binance here real quick. BTC. Where is Binance? I don't know. Boom. Alrighty then. Here we go. Bitstamp. I'm looking for the where maybe this has the biggest volume. No, this is not. Market calm. Boom. Either way, bio break meant a few edibles to take the edge off.
No, just a little pasta.
Just had to drop something off and or maybe just pick some food up. Maybe I thought it was something else. All right, guys. So
no, you dirty mind there. Just needed to, I had a lot of coffee this morning, so I had to, and lots of water, and so it needs, and then I have to fill it back up. So I got a little last night's pasta that I made for a little snack.
There you go, man. Shit, that looks good too, man. That thing, I don't know what that is, but you want you share some, bro? If you're gonna eat on.
Well, it was a little rigatoni. It's Mrs.
rigatoni.
Striking's. I guess it's the Striking mom-in-law that made the sauce,
yeah.
and it's just delicious.
And delicious, very delicious. Man, look at this, man. I mean, we are starting to see some little. I'm looking at a few other like Coinbase here. My Coinbase BTC is pumping, man. Or they blew through this area. We're coming up to that 200 period moving average, which is nice. Dude, and we're seeing it's looking like it. If we have a big pump today, and we see this thing get going, dude, man, look at me. I'm like just hoping. I'm like, come on, like, right, like, I might start being a moon boy over. Like, come on, you can do it. Come on,
you can do it.
Anyways. So let's check out. Yeah, so yeah, Bitcoin is definitely pumping here a little, man. I mean, it's definitely getting going. So that's a good thing. We're coming up to that 200 period moving average, and it probably is going to. I mean, we'll probably hit it. And then if this thing, we don't see a giant sell-off. Oh, excuse me. I've got a little breeze going on in my area. So if we can see a sell-off and then see it go down tomorrow in the morning, or in the when the market opens up, and then we start to capture it as it starts to move up, and that would be fire. That would be fire. You don't even understand how big of a deal that would be. It would be very, very big deal.
Well, let's see. I'm looking at my extensive portfolio here. I've got the other day I started with $36 in my BidFi account, and today I have $44.
There we go.
That's a percentage-wise, that's a huge gain. That's like way more than you're going to make in the average stock market in a year.
What is that? 30%?
36 to
50,
44.
sorry.
36 to 44 is
11.
It's Well, it's
11 out of 33.
at least
Yeah.
33,
30, yeah,
38%,
30%.
something like that.
Yeah.
It's hard calculating on the upward thing. You can guess, but to do it right, it involves some algebra.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, the other day I made 14% on a trade. Took it from $36 to whatever it was, $38.50 or something like that. And I realized if I could do 14% every day, I'd be a billionaire in about 6 months.
All right. That's about right.
You think that's going to happen, Pedro?
I don't know about 6 months, but give it a few years. Hey, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't mind being 100 millionaire in a few years,
No problem with that. But everything is, I'm looking at the chart here. Well, you guys can't see my chart, but Bitcoin's up 4% today. Blast is up 7.5%. ETH up 5%. Sol up 8. Caspa keeping it down low at 1.5% up.
Yeah, check out what's going on with Caspa.
Oh, I think Jesus, the Lord and Savior, is behind by about 10 minutes.
Bio break, yeah. But he'll speed up here real quick. Let's see what's up. Oh, remember I had him go back. That's why.
Oh, right. That's right.
Hey, speed up to the present.
So Pedro, I'm looking at all of the moving. I'm on the 1 minute chart on BTC here, and you told me something a while ago, and I have all the moving averages up. I have the 8, 20, 50, 89, 200.
Okay.
And except for the 200, all of them are right within, a market move, a trade. Okay. And you said when they're all tight together, and you told me that was an advice that something, was going to happen. What was it? I can't remember.
This won't give me. Okay. So when they're all grouped together, right? You want to see it kind of here. Share your screen so I can sit there and see it, because for whatever this thing I can't. It's frustrating.
All right, it should be coming up here any second now. Come on, window. There we go.
Okay. All right, so what we want to see, and this is Bitcoin, we're consolidating here. Now we want to see and starting to see an increase in volume. Okay, so the fact that the market is coming down first here, absorbing orders first, we would want to see then expect it to push up. What time is it? It's 30 minutes. Boom.
I have the 1 minute chart on.
I know, but remember we talk about market sequential.
No, what I was asking is you had told me before, when all of the moving averages come in and are all together, except for maybe the really long term one, that meant something. And I don't remember if it meant don't trade because the market, you don't know what it's going to do, or it's going to move one side or the other a lot. I can't remember it was what you told me.
Yeah, so what you do is you're looking out for a breakout is really what you're looking for. And so the market potentially should, first do the opposite and then come back and rally out, right? So right now we just want to see the market push in a single direction. And that's typically what I look for, is as it breaks out of the consolidation period, I want to see whatever trending device you use, right? You want to see your primary trending device communicate to you that it's starting to trend, because when it's just kind of going sideways, it hasn't picked a trend yet. So that's what you want to see. So as of right now,
in order to figure it out, you need to like most other things, you need more than one tool. You need to use your whole bag of tools to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and really what that is just trading off of, like we're at the 30 minute, it's 11:30, the market closes at 1 o'clock. So, that's why I go to the 30 minute and I say, okay, what's a 30 minute candle doing? Are we putting in the supply wick, we put in the demand wick, right? So right now you can see the market is trending up. And so you can sit there and see, all right, it's the first 10 minutes. All right, so I'm going to look here. And the market first went down. Then it's now starting to push up. So now I would expect to see it push up. Now, I would think that a 30-minute wick here would be a deeper wick as we push down. But, you know, right now the market is pushing up. So we could just potentially see it push up from here till we get up to the next high, which is going to be above 63,950 area. So yeah, that would be it. And what you want to do is put your stop. Can I get to a 2-minute? Yeah, we can do 2 minute. Nope. Cannot. Maybe here. Let's try BTC. BTC.
Come on, BTC, do your thing. Let's get a collective cheer from the crowd here for BTC. Do we want it to go up, or do we want it to just to play stink boy all day? I might add it. I have a little long trade on right now. I have exactly $31 in the market here. This is how I roll.
All in, baby.
All in, and I'm up 73 cents. And we need it to get, I want it to get up to be $1. Then I'm going to close it out and not worry about trading the rest of the day.
Which is nice little 1% made.
Oh,
nice.
Just went good. Jesus is saying go down. Okay, Kramer. Mike saying moon.
Alrighty, let's see this here real quick. So this is beat and
There says we got to be close to takeoff. We've got to be there. You know, halving was in the beginning of April, end of March, beginning of April. You know, they say you know, it's usually more than a year later that it really gets going after a halving, but it starts moving. Oh, starting to move down now. I'm just gonna close this out of the profits. Nope. Oh, came back immediately.
Okay, 5 minute, 1 minute.
Yes, Jesus, so it'd have to go down to go up. And as Pedro was saying that, it went down. Oops.
Yep.
It went down, and then I said, all right, they were clearing out a little bit of the order book there. Now let's let it go up. And so that's when I went long with my $31.
Yep, so always kind of capture it, you know, and then we should see it push up to the highs of that 60-ish area. So that's what I would expect it to see. That 63, go up a little bit more. Let's see. Yeah, it's a good little area to go along right there. And then kind of a 638 area. Push up, and you should be happy, I think, right up in that level. And if it catches wings, I mean, maybe take off, you know, 70% of your portfolio there.
At these low dollar volumes, you can't do that because your trading fees will kill you.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, if you pay, you know, 10 cents for a trade, and you gotta wait for it to. You don't want to do 2 or 3 trades on one P&L things. You'll eat up a lot of it. You just gotta lay your balls out on the table and say, "We're going all in, buddy."
I love it. There we go. I love it. Put your balls on the table and let it ride.
It's doing the Chumbalone dance. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Get it. Ride about it. Have a good time. And then when you're done with it, throw some lotion on it.
My mind is calculating that. Where's this going? All of a sudden, I'm like, oh.
No, let down. Dang it. No, man, it's fun though. Let's look at this here real quick. I think this is really S&P 500 is really starting to pick up too. So it's actually really interesting to see this thing going. Let's pull here real quick. Let's see what everybody's doing. So we got Apple up 3%. We got Microsoft up to almost 2%. Google up 2%. Google 2%. Nvidia 5%. Amazon about 1.8. Meta 4%. Dang, man, that's definitely an up day for these guys. So let's check this out here real quick. And you can see they took it away. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, but it's pushing above. So look at this right here. It's starting to push above. That's nice. Really nice. Look at that. If it can close above here, we could see it really starting to pick up on the S&P
Which chart do you got
500.
up there?
This is the top 10 from market cap of the S&P 500. So I use this as an indication of seeing what the overall market's going to most likely do.
Gotcha.
So I go in, you know, it just gives me, I create my own type of like, instead of, you know, Dow Jones 50 or what is it? Yeah, the 50 largest, you know, where you have the 50 largest.
Yeah, your own
corporate
basket.
Yeah, it's my own basket I create, and I'm able to sit there and see. I wish that TradingView would allow me to be able to add more than 10 on here. I would love to actually be able to hold 16 to 17 on it and see what actually happens with this. But they don't do that. Only give you up to 10, and yet they're going to charge
Even if you
me.
pay them more?
Yep. The other thing I can't stand, and this is to me why I don't think it's worth their amount of money, is I can't change the ability for me to look at. I can't change. Remember I was talking about I want my period of my 8-hour chart to turn over a certain period, right? And show me the changes of the wicks to be correct.
Yep.
And they won't allow me to do that. And to me, that's probably the most important aspects of the market. I mean, I think it's bigger than having moving averages and volume, because that's when and that's when you know who's in control and who's not in control in a wick. And the fact that they don't give that to me and I can't make the charts do it shows me that I think they're getting paid by institutions to set up certain things so that people don't get the full view.
Now that would be that would be something that if the SEC came and prosecuted them for, I would be in on that, or the CFTC, or just some random district court somewhere saying that, hey, that's not the right thing to do. You can't do that to people.
There's no way. The thing is then how are they going to make money? That's the thing.
No, but I mean, to intentionally sell, to hobble your product so that certain people lose money and certain people make money.
That's exactly what happens, though. That's the point. Like, remember when I said once crypto starts to get mainstream, right? I said this. I said at least crypto has the correct charting, right? So we can trade that correctly, at least for now. Right, it does. And then sure enough, once we started with the ETFs and the ETFs started moving, they changed the timing of your 8-hour and 4-hour candle. So instead of it switching at 8 o'clock West Coast time or 11 o'clock East Coast time, right, it no longer does. And to me, that was such an indication of, okay, yeah, it really is shady. Like they really are, like it, because they used to trade at like this switch over from, like, if you're not catching what I'm saying, this is what I mean. We've talked about this numerous of times. The market is cut up into sections. So we'll start with the month. In the month, you have 4 weeks. Obviously, switches up, right? Then from the week, it switches up to 7 days, 7 days for crypto. Okay. The start of that day is important because you have 3 8-hour periods. Those 3 8-hour periods are the Asian market. Can we say Asian market? Is that
yes?
Okay.
Asian market.
Yeah. Well,
I
don't know. Yeah. So Asia market. Then you have the London market, or you have Central Europe, which is based off the London opening, right? And then you have the US opening. Those are 3 sequential time changes where one entity is running it and then takes over, and then another one gets rid of it and the other one takes over, right? And then it does its thing, and then this one takes over, and it, and there's 3 8-hour sections that happen. basically, when I'm looking at the markets, I want to see those changes in the 8-hour and in the 4-hour candle. It's big. It's a big deal. And so when I'm looking at this market, I can sit there and say, hey, which areas are the correct areas? And so I have to sit there and basically figure out. Now I just go to the hour chart and I got to sit there and say, okay, here is the 8 o'clock. So this is the candle. It started here and here. So when the market comes back down to this level, I got to sit there and say, okay, we started here. Okay. So this to me is a real candle. This is where the real zone is at. Okay. So when the market comes back down to this level, I can sit there and play off of this. Okay. That's super important for me to look at. Now, all of this area right here, from here up, is the body, right? And so when this closes, so this is at 8 o'clock, or excuse me, 11 o'clock. This is where we want to play, actually. This is West Coast. So this right here is where the wick is sitting. Okay. So I can sit there and quantify this wick, and it tells me and lets me know if this wick is strong or not based off how much volume. So when I'm looking at my 4-hour candle, I can sit there and see how if I wanted to actually put a good strong wick here, I wouldn't be able to sit there and see this is even in a wick here, because this transitions on the 4-hour right here. Look, it goes from the 4 to 5 or the 4 to 8 instead of 4 to 8 o'clock, 12 o'clock, sorry, 11. Yeah, instead of 8 to 12. I want to see the 11 area, because this is when America fully took over the session.
Yeah,
so
America taking over. Yeah,
America taking over the session. So this allows me to see this is where the real buyers are sitting. So I can, and this is what I mean. Before the institution started and made everything correct, or not correct, but incorrect, crypto used to trade on this. Now they switched it. And this is my biggest frustration. You know, and that's a big deal. It's a really big deal, because nobody knows that there's real buyers sitting right here. You don't know. So you think it's going to keep going down further. And in all reality, it's not. It's going to come down and then buy. You're going to be like, why did it go up here? And so you'll sit there, oh, it's the 1 hour. No, it's the 1 hour, 4 hour, and 8 hour time change that kept this here. I'm sorry, y'all. You're hearing my rant here.
Thank you. That's what it's for. Speaking of rant, tomorrow will be a full Rant Friday episode.
So it will be fun.
I thought I keep forgetting to run the schedule here, but
oh, also forgot to mention. All right, guys, I'm also going to be on.
That's right.
Tonight.
I knew we had another announcement.
Yeah. We are going. I'm going to be on Bitcoin.com podcast and
on their
website.
X Spaces. On their X Spaces.
Speaking about the markets and basically talking about these things that I bring up every day to you guys, every single day, and show you guys. And I was actually talking with Corbin, their CEO, over at the Futurist Conference, and I was explaining some of the stuff that we were talking. And he's just like, wait, what? I go, yeah, dude. Like, it used to trade correct. It no longer trades correct because the institutions are involved, and the institutions want to rob you. Like, they want to take you for your money. Like, remember, it must go down first to go up. It must first go up, then to go down, right? And most people don't realize that markets is intricate, and it jumps from 5, 15, 30 minute, hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour time changes, then the day changes, right? And you understand how the market plays off of those 7 days within the weekly chart, right? Look at the moving averages, right? That's why I always start the week off. Let's look at the weekly chart. If we come to the new month, how's the market going to play off of? I said if the market goes down for the beginning of the month, what should we do? We should see it rally to the end of the month, right? And then if it hits a moving or if it's in a moving average, then that's the down to go up to go down, right? You can see here how we're playing this market right here. So we're going to be talking about those things. Obviously here I talk about it in more detail, but there I'm going to be talking about it and more of a lively talk, and Corbin will have fun with it, and a few of the other guys are going to be there. So I'd love for you guys to show up. It is at 10 tonight.
10
sorry, go
Eastern
ahead,
time. It's UTC +2. So Dara, you got to set your clock there and get up at 4 a.m.
Or go back and watch it.
Yeah, or 2 a.m., whatever time it is for you at UTC +2. But anyway, as you can see on the screen behind me here, Pedro is going to join Maple Syrup Sucker. I'm guessing the CEO is from Canada, Maple Syrup Sucker.
It must be.
Marketing lead, Gramin in... I can't even pronounce that. And special guest, Pedro Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, from DYOR Media, as they give their No Moon Boys analysis to the current Bitcoin and crypto markets and narratives. And it's episode 18 of Token Narratives on X, coming up on X. And I'm not sure if it's a Spaces or a video broadcast, but they've got the Spaces reminder up, so I'm guessing it's that.
Well, it's both. So we're going to have a space, and I believe they're going to be going live because I'm supposed to be camera ready.
Oh, they're broadcasting it on both. Good. So it'll be on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I think so. But it's going to be really interesting because it's going to be on their website, and their website, I guess, gets quite a bit of traffic. So, I know they're trying to get this podcasting on their end going. So we'll see if we can really push it forward and kind of help them out. I'm looking forward just to have a lively discussion with them and really talk about, everything crypto, trading wise. I'm gonna look forward to actually connecting with a few other traders out there. So we'll see what happens if, hopefully somebody will disagree with me, and it's just not me talking heads, but actually have a real, like, what about this? What about that? It's kind of like how I had over at the Futures Conference with a few of the other traders there, right?
Yep. As they say, Pedro, we're getting long in the tooth, so everybody, you stick around, pay attention to the DYOR Media Twitter or X account. We'll send some reminder links to make sure you guys tune in to hear Pedro take on the Bitcoin crowd. Tell them that they're all not moon boys, but they should be practical and good traders, that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I look forward to it. Hopefully it goes well. We'll see what happens.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're hearing the kick tracks. You know what that means. Oh, wait. Just as I say that, the explosives are going off outside. We've said explosives too much on this episode.
We have. The booms. The booms is happening.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for a great show today. Good time talking about the markets, talking about our partner podcast coming up from the Crypto Swamp Creature Show. It's going to be premiering on the DYOR Media Network starting next week. Looking forward to having Chris and Justin on the show, or on the channel, bringing a variety of opinions and talking shows back to DYOR Media, where we haven't had some shows in about 3 years, other than the one that I'm on now. So we're working on it. Pedro, thanks for a good show today. Ladies and gentlemen, Crypto Mike says later. Daryl Lawton says ciao for now, and he's going to get the
final words.
The final word today. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. But that's all for the rest of us, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Pedro Garcia and myself, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. We'll see you tomorrow on Full Rant Friday. So be there. See ya, Pedro.
See ya.